Welcome to, I'm not even sure, 4th episode here of the Weekend Cast, a.k.a. A Case of the Mondays, a.k.a. It Burns When I Pee, a.k.a. No More Healthcare, a.k.a. The Game of Thrones Review. What do you guys got?
Well, I'm going to introduce myself.
Oh, yeah. I'm behind the curtain at the Deep Office. You can find me on the Twitter sphere.
I have no birth certificate or social security number. I'm no name, unnamed at the moment.
Epic. Epic.
And I'm just plain old free the opposition.
No, nothing's free in this world.
The opposition should be free, or at least at a discount.
Hope that has a birth certificate.
Discounted free.
Discounted opposition.
Discounted.
Yeah. I got a thing.
Do it.
So, if you guys haven't been following like the latest Russophobia stuff,
No, actually, I haven't.
Trump finally came out and admitted that the Russians meddled in our election, and he instantly pivoted toward blaming it on Obama. So it went from definitely not happening, it's all bullshit just to fucking make me look bad, to yeah, it happened, but it's all Obama's fault. So we're making progress, baby steps. Soon he will be in the real world. And I don't know, what do you guys think of this latest pivot by Trumposphere? And this is on top of him like getting lawyers out the ass. He has lawyers for his lawyers at this point.
Lawyers on lawyers on lawyers on lawyers on lawyers
Like,
on lawyers.
he's bringing jobs, like he said, mostly for lawyers and fact checkers.
Shit.
I'm ready for him to be impeached already.
That's not going to happen. Well, at least not considering all the information that's out there right now. Like, and I mean, like, even if this whole thing, I just don't think this whole Russia thing is going to do anything.
Well,
is what I'm saying.
it's not the Russia so much as his,
Now it's the obstruction.
yeah, him.
And that seems a lot.
obstructing.
And it's funny because
Or yeah, that.
it's funny because people bring up Nixon a lot, but it is like the exact same thing. Where like, if he just kept his mouth shut and like stayed out of the way.
Don't you think it's more corrupt than it was then?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's why. With that, I don't think anything's gonna happen.
But yeah, but the thing is, it's more corrupt. But the thing is, mostly it's Congress. It's too GOP, and they have too much politically to lose if they bring him down, because it just hurts the brand across the board.
Right.
That they were behind this guy, and so many guys that were threw their hat into the ring with him because they just wanted the stuff he was going to offer them. So there's a lot of political shenanigans. They just don't want to be seen both hurting. They don't want to hurt themselves in their own base by coming against Trump. And they certainly don't want to admit that the whole thing was a sham. So it's not until the 2018 elections, and hopefully there's some flipping of the Congress, that there'll be actually any political will to make this happen, which would be coincide with the investigation Mueller's putting out, which will still take months and months to work through. The guy's got like 13 plus different investigators on this. He's building his own team, guys who are like experts in Russian stuff and money laundering and RICO cases. So he's definitely looking in all the right places. This is more than just whether he like party with Putin. And this will hopefully sort of like, hopefully what'll come out before the next election is some better measures to keep our elections protected. From foreign and domestic influences. How about, I would say, more paper ballots. The tech isn't there. It's too separated from what people understand, and there's just not enough transparency to fucking make sure that it's like not being tampered with. So paper ballots seem to be the thing, which is more states should be adopting paper ballots, stuff that can be like sort of handwritten. Maybe even like do that thing they do in other countries where they paint your finger and shit like that when you vote, and it doesn't wash off and stuff like that. So
Bringing phones to the party.
That's a $3 fine.
That is a $3 fine.
But yeah, so what I hope is that at least before the next 2018 elections, that some of Mueller's investigation.
What a stupid name.
Mueller? Yeah, his mom should have not called him that.
That's his first name?
That's his last name.
Oh, okay. I was like,
That's all right. So I don't think nothing will really move until the GOP sees that there's like no way out. That it's just too obvious that he's gonna fucking hurt their brand just by being in power.
Yeah.
Than hurting their brand, taking him out.
GOP.
Yeah, he just recently came out this week too and said that he didn't have any tapes. The Comey tapes that he said he had. He
Yeah.
had until that day to come out and bring them. And he tweeted and said
See,
that there wasn't any.
And that's another move. It's like he keeps making these pivots into reality.
Yep.
Because he's Mueller's investigation is putting him against the wall. He needs to start like addressing what the real world instead of the sort of rhetoric he's been pushing. So he's got to stop gaslighting the country because he's going to be up in court cases pretty soon, having to fucking deal with the real world, and everything he's been saying from now on is going to be used against him. Just like his Muslim ban, where like shit he was saying on the campaign trail, shit he was saying like in speeches as president, were used against him to make like, no, this isn't what it is. This isn't what you're trying to pull off. It's obvious what you're trying to pull off. And the same thing's going to happen in sport. All these tweets. He's been deleting his tweets. Okay. Thankfully, there's already a couple groups that like archive all his tweets. And bringing advertisements to the party.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Stupid advertisements. Why are they on autoplay?
Yeah, it pisses me off too. Man, killing it.
Edited it.
There was also something big, quick production thing. There was also like a weird like boom boom sound, like almost like the table was being moved a lot, or one of the chairs or something. But there was something that was sort of like a pounding that sort of would randomly happen.
Weird.
Yeah, but anyways,
Stop pounding.
no more pounding. So yeah, that's the thing. Trump is having more and more to sort of reflect what reality looks like, because he's having less and less choice. Once he understands that like he doesn't have the majority of the country at his back anymore, he seems to really be sort of surrounded by sycophants who keep telling him that just stay the course. Of course, people
Good
are gonna be
job,
angry.
sir.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And the other ones who have their own agendas, who are like, whatever, just as long as we can keep this train running as long
Right.
as possible to get what we want. You know, GOP, they want their Senate seat or their Supreme Court seat. They want this healthcare bill shoved down everyone's throat. They want to get the tax cuts going. They want to get all the things that they want now because they know the president will sign off on it, guaranteed. So they're going to fight for a while to keep him in power, because he's basically just a rubber stamp for whatever their agenda is.
But like you said, he is threatening their image.
It depends on how much shame they have. You know, right now there's a guy in Congress from Montana who body slammed a reporter. You know, so
I haven't seen that. Yeah, I heard about it, but I
Yeah.
haven't seen it yet.
he pleaded guilty to it. So he definitely admits that he did it. So there's no like sort of ambiguity, like, oh, was it this or that? It's like, no, I body slammed that dude. And he's now a congressman or whatever. So
But I think the good
Oh, he
news-
did get.
Yeah, he won.
yeah, because it was
that
already too
night.
late.
Yeah.
It was already too
Oh.
late for anybody to like.
For any sort of
Flipping, yeah.
negative.
But the good thing for the GOP is that the corporate Democratic establishment is just in shambles, so they're still losing every election. I think they've won like they've lost 4 special elections because the Democrats just can't get their shit together. So there's not an impact of Donald Trump's kind of smearing their name, the GOP name, yet. Because I think the greater evil is still not the greater evil in the sense that the Democratic Party is more evil, but
The split is really messed up because in all these special elections, when they have like too much of like a sort of centrist type, the progressive grassroots won't support him.
yeah.
And if he's too left leaning, then the money won't come from the DNC. So both sides of the left end up sort of handicapping their best chances of like winning a lot of these elections, because they're just like, no, not pure enough. So you know, it is them shooting themselves in the foot in a lot of these elections. Although the whole Georgia thing wasn't a big, like, it was a big deal that the guy got on the radar to begin with. Like, that was a Republican stronghold district for like 30 years. There was no chance a guy was actually going to get it. The fact that he got within 5 percentage points when the last guy who won it was like at 20 points, like there's a swing. And I never thought the guy would win. It was just cool that like a random, not even that progressive, was like,
No, he was
Ru-
not progressive at all.
no. But he was like a young, good-looking dude, so that always like swings him.
Yeah, not good enough.
But yeah, and if the grassroots had maybe backed him up regardless, he could have swung that 5 extra percentage points or more and gotten the hit, and then we could have had a guy we could like pull towards the left versus
No.
someone who's
Because, I mean, the thing is, like you said, the grassroots movement is not going to support a half-assed candidate. He's a half-assed candidate. He raised $24 million for his donors. That's not, the grassroots aren't going to go out for them, and they shouldn't go out for them just for the sake of getting a Republican out of office there. I would say that they just shouldn't. Because you're not teaching that group of people the lesson that needs to be taught to them. Because they're not going to change if you keep putting these corporate Democrats in office. So, of course, the grassroots shouldn't. I don't think they should. But what was more surprising about his loss was that literally the candidate he was going against, I think her name was Handel or Handley.
Karen Handel.
Yeah, so she came out against, like, a livable wage. Like, again, this is one of those...
Against gay marriage.
Against gay marriage. So it's one of those obvious wins that somebody like the Democratic Party should be able to win against, and they're not. So I think it's an important lesson that the grassroots don't come out and support them, so that they continue to learn this lesson and they can go through the 5 million reasons why, and eventually they're going to have to face the fact, because they blamed it on Nancy Pelosi this time, they blamed it on Russia, they blamed it on Comey, emails. So I mean, they're running out of excuses at this point. So the more that the grassroots movements don't come out and support these half-assed candidates, I think in the long run it'll be better.
I can get behind that. I just always buy the idea that even with at this point, now that we've sort of like been more socially activized by Trump, that we could do more with leftists, even neoliberals, in those positions, because we can pull them. Because there's a different kind of opposition to them than there is to right wingers, who just flat out say you're paid by Soros for some reason.
But are you really going to pull them when they're still, while they may give you social left ideas, they're not giving you important left ideas? Like,
that's if
they're
we
not
fall asleep.
supporting-
I think the same pressures we put on sort of Trumpians, we put on them, we can get a lot more out of them.
But that's the problem, is that the left isn't going to put those pressures on them, because the people who like adamantly support Hillary Clinton aren't going to put the pressure on her. They put her in office and they're like, okay, she's good to go. We don't need to really worry about, all of the voting for wars that she does. Like, it's cool, she's got it. And I think that's what happens when we let them placate the left and say, I'm in favor of gay marriage. I'm for maybe not a livable wage, but we'll bump it up. Like, they're just doing things just to shut us up so that they can play the role of the Republican and placate their base to feed their donors. And so the left won't get on them as much. But when you have somebody like a Donald Trump, the left is more adamant about it. So I think it's just too easy to let them put somebody like that. What is his name? Offsky? What was his name?
Ossoff.
Ossoff.
The meme was funny. It was vote your Ossoff.
Bro.
And like things like he will work his ass off for all of us and stuff like that.
That's
No, he
Those weren't official. Those were just Twitter handles and stuff like that.
Okay.
I don't know what his official one was. I didn't follow it too closely. Once again, because he wasn't like a hard progressive. He was more neolib. He was.
he's
but
just a Democrat.
But he was a centrist, and I was like, okay, better than Karen Handel.
No.
Better. Those
Those are like the wolves in sheep clothing. It's not better.
And I agree that if people fall asleep when they're in power, then that's an issue. But my presumption is that we just don't let them fall asleep.
Yeah,
we put
but
the same pressures on them.
You're talking about like 70% of the Democratic base not falling asleep, who are always falling asleep. Like the only people who are awake are the progressive people that are holding the Democrats accountable. And every time you say something about a Democrat, there's this huge wave of actual Democrat loyalists who are just mad at you for even questioning what the Democratic Party does. And then they go out, they'll say one thing, and then the Democratic Party, the politicians in the party, will say one thing, turn around and do another thing, and then make excuses for why it's okay. And their base just blindly accepts it. So they're never going to hold them accountable. The only reason that there's so much accountability happening with Donald Trump is because they just hate him. So they're just going to hate him no matter what and call out his bullshit. But when he's doing a lot of the same things that Hillary Clinton was doing, they don't call Hillary Clinton out for their bullshit, because it's not because they're not awake, it's just because they're dumb. They're just following they believe that the Democratic Party is the best. Yeah, so they're just going to blindly follow them. And that's why, again, I'm going to say it again, these grassroots people shouldn't come out and support it, because it's not going to fix the problem. You have to continuously have them lose until they learn their lesson, or until you have somebody until they learn their lesson through either maybe they're smart enough to figure it out, or two, you have somebody like the Justice Democrats that end up taking over, and when it comes head to head in the primaries for them, they lose to Democrat, or the corporate Democrats start losing. That's my opinion. I think that's the only way to fix this. Because
The only
I
way
think
to
it
free
was
the opposition.
I think it was Jimmy Dore who said that those who are on the left side, who are like Hillary Clinton supporters,
Subliminal.
but Hillary Clinton supporters, they're just accidentally on the right side, and I pretty much 100% agree with that. They're just because they're just as bad as the right.
Well, because so for me, the Overton window shifts to the right. So people who are centrist are, for me, essentially right wingers. Where like, because I've argued with like Hillbots and whatnot about certain things, especially.
That's funny. All these names, Hillbots, Hillary Clitoris, and Donald Thrust.
Oh no, that's gotta be the best one. I have to see if that exists. And if it doesn't, I need to make it happen. Okay, so the thing is, I have a problem with sort of neoliberalism, specifically because it turns entire swaths of the left into sort of like zombies, because they stand on like, well, it's good enough, or like best intentions end up being enough.
Yeah.
And so they don't dig deeper. They sort of let the sort of the superficialness of certain politics sort of wash over them. And I just wish people would, in general, apply the same kind of like
Logic.
Not even that. Like just even bias. Just take your bias and apply it to everybody. It's like all politicians are lying to you.
Or just be principled. That's all it takes, is to be principled. If you believe that
Believe in
intervention...
X. If you believe X, then just believe X across the board.
Exactly. If you believe interventions are wrong, then you need to believe no matter what president, no matter what party, if they're intervening in another country, it's wrong. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem, is that they don't. And we know that they don't because we had 8 years of President Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton who sold fracking over the world. Yeah, this is the party that's supposed to represent more... it's supposed to be more progressive environmentally. It's just it's a hot mess over there in the Democratic Party.
Yeah, and you understand that like these positions are difficult positions. That there are no good answers. Being president of the United States doesn't offer you a bunch of good options. Mm-hmm. It gives you all shitty options, and you pick the less shittiest one you think will work. And you weigh a bunch of different things, like how bad does this make America look?
And that's the thing, how they come to those conclusions is the problem.
It's like, what ends up being weighted? What do they weigh the most in terms of a particular decision? Is it some partisan political angle? Is it some broader American security angle?
Or is it the favors that they owe the people that put them there? And I think that's more what dictates what rules they go. Maybe some presidents are like, oh, is this going to be in the best interest of America? No, I think most decisions are made like, okay, I owe this guy this favor because he put me here, and I owe this other person because he donated to me, and that's the
I disagree. I think presidents on a day-to-day are doing like what's best to make the country keep going, and they just include rich people's decisions as part of that. That becomes like, well, these guys have a lot of power and money, so what they say about what makes the country better has a lot of weight, So they're
blindly following these.
No,
rich
they're taking the fact that they actually can fund their positions and shit like that. They mostly take the idea of like military and finance. Those are the two big positions, and energy, but that ends up being part of military anyway. But military and finance end up being sort of the main decision makers, and that means basically the military-industrial complex has sort of like the most say in any particular situation. That's why no matter what happens, the Pentagon gets fat budget increases all the time. That's why it can get like billions and billions of dollars, no matter what president.
And isn't that more of a favor that the president would owe to the military-industrial complex when he's making decisions on whether or not to intervene in Syria? Do you think he sat down and was like, is it going to make America look good? Is it going to keep people safe? Or is it going to feed the
machine?
Yeah. And,
Which
and the choice
if-
he makes is it's going to feed the
which,
machine.
as presented by military folk, is what's good for America. That's the thing. It gets wrapped up in the ideology.
But I guess the idea is the president making these moral decisions? And as I understood what you said, that you thought that they were making day-to-day decisions. But even if they're relying on people that they know are part of the military-industrial complex, like these people have a vested interest in these wars that you're funding. Somebody like Barack Obama, I would expect, is smarter and to make better decisions. We're talking about Trump, of course. I think he's easily persuaded by these people to, like you're saying, they tell him this is going to be better for the world, so he does it. But
He's largely left a lot of foreign policy up to them. Like there's certain command and control centers, like in Afghanistan and in Iraq.
well, because it's too complicated for
It's
him.
too complicated for it. So his situation is definitely a lot worse than at least Obama. At least he was having some of that stuff channeled and having to try and bullshit him into doing these things.
But I believe Obama was smarter than just to be persuaded by that. I think he was either he had his hands tied and he had to make these decisions, or he was caught in the trap of, well, they're my friends and they're not really that bad of guys.
So yeah, I always think it's just a bunch of shitty options in front of him, and like a bunch of different people give him shitty options, and he just picks the less shitty option that he thinks.
But if you're intervening in another country in a war that's not even about you, you're not doing. There are other decisions. That is a shitty decision. You picked the shittiest decision you could have picked. What's the reasoning behind that?
Yeah,
it's definitely not to make America great again.
And I agree with that. Your thing was basically that's the majority of his decisions.
No, I guess the important decisions.
My thing was basically like that. All these different things are weighed in for every single like sort of day-to-day option. That they're all just shitty options.
It's like you got to pick 3 shitty decisions to make one good one.
And and some
I guess.
And some are weighted. It's like, okay, well if I can do this and get a lot of money, get a lot of money for the country by putting a fucking Halliburton in there, then hey, how do you do? We'll pick this shitty option. We'll just sell it as that. That's where corruption and shit comes in, and trying to gaslight the American public as to why they did a particular thing. But I think all the options end up being really shitty. Because there are, Russia and China don't like us, so they will take advantage of this and that. So when they want to when they want to take over the Middle East, when they want to make investments in Africa, then sometimes we got to do stuff. And sometimes it's terrible shit, like destabilize countries so nobody gets it.
I don't know. I feel as though there's other countries that are doing quite well, not interfering and not being. I guess we're a little bit different because we're a big player in the world, but we don't need to be. That's the point of the UN.
You don't think so?
I don't think that.
I think we do need to be.
I think we can be militarily. I think we can be kind of financially, but as far as having control over the Middle East, I think it's kind of unnecessary. Using excuses to go over a nation build everywhere else and take down dictators because they're just inconvenient for us. I think all of that's unnecessary. We don't need to be doing that. We need to just mind our own business and focus on our own people. And if you have a strong UN like you're supposed to, then there's really not going to be an issue of a Russia or a North Korea, because those will all be taken care of by the countries. But we have it so skewed that we put ourselves in such a position where we need to be the world police in order to maintain our power and perpetuate this. So it's just a never-ending cycle, which I think is just unnecessary.
I can buy that. It's our position was sort of like, in a way, we sort of did it to ourselves. Post World War II, we created all these different international organizations, and because America was sort of the best off after World War II, most of Europe was decimated. We got off mostly unscathed. So all the money we saved not having to rebuild America after World War II, we spent on industry. And we just ended up being sort of the most economically viable in the world. Mm-hmm. So everyone just backed themselves on us. The world currency is backed by U.S. dollars. Most trade is done in U.S. dollars because we were just simply the most stable. That's why America is ridiculously rich, but there's lots of poor people in the country itself, because it's mostly about our international relationship with the world and how most of the world has sort of basically bought into the American dream to support themselves. The movement over the last 10, 15 years or so has been a shift away from that, both purposely and indirectly, through Russia and China. The Middle East itself is trying to independize themselves. Africa's making relationships with China so it can be separated from a lot of that stuff, and we maintain a lot of that power through NATO and through UN, where we end up just having veto power. in a lot of directions. You look at a lot of the votes the UN does, we end up siding with like really weird countries, you know, like.
Well, no, it's only weird if you're looking at the surface. You're
Right,
like, oh,
right.
that's interesting. But when you dig deeper, it's not weird at all.
It's like a Harry Potter quote, but yeah. So you know, I'm definitely not blind to the idea of like the whole point is that the West in general and America specifically is meant to dominate the world. We're supposed to shove our banks into everyone's face and everything. They want to turn all of the world into America.
They're going for a cultural win.
They're going for the big cultural win because they want the one world government to be the American government,
Yeah.
to be the model of the American
And I
government.
don't like that. Like, I
I
don't
don't-
want us to be that. I understand like the idea for it, but the diversity is what makes just the world greater. We get better ideas when we're not systematically falling underneath one train of thought, one government, regardless of what government it is. I don't want
I
to
agree.
either. I want to see them all. What
I-
works, what doesn't, because you're never going to know if you never step out of your government what might work better.
Yeah, that's why I like the idea of sort of international alliances instead of what America does.
And the worst part is like America is probably it definitely lower on the list for top governments. Like there are better governments, better countries that are run more. I don't want to say more.
But the thing is,
socially,
once
but-
again, our situation is just so different than any other country on the planet.
It is.
We are very particular.
But basic
country.
things like we don't even have universal health care. People in Flint, Michigan don't have clean water to drink. So this is a government that wants a whole new world order underneath it. And it can't even take care of its own small little country right now. So it's not the model government that needs to blanket the entire world.
Yeah, I attribute most of that to like just the corruption, the individual agents within the system, who find their own sort of like agendas, who aren't thinking of the greater good. I'm actually I think America should be more isolationist. I think we should pull back in a lot of ways. We think we should strengthen the UN and NATO to be more independent, as more of an independent sort of organization, rather than just sort of an arm of U.S. hegemony, whichever word works the best. So yeah, so that's why I understand like sort of Russia's angle on like, because their whole economy is built a lot on the oil price. You know, it's mostly resources that they make money off of, and with the push toward like sort of green tech, it's been hurting their economy, especially when U.S. put sanctions on them and had people not trade with them. It really hurt their economy. So I can understand Putin, who in particular was a KGB recruiter. So he knows all about sort of like gaslighting tactics and propaganda and media and new technology. He's a smart fucking guy. Putin is. So the idea that he would fucking work to sort of swing elections and all that crap is not anyone. It's inside the box of things he would want to do. From what I've read in a recent post, Washington Post piece, it was talking about a lot of the stuff going on in the White House with Obama during the time of the election, and when they were finding out a lot of this stuff. There's a lot of like discord about what they should do. Obama eventually ended up like kicking a bunch of diplomats out and closing some of their compounds down, and then was pushing for sanctions, which the Congress is just now sort of like running through. But they wanted to do a lot more, and people pushed Obama to do a lot more. But Obama's whole thing has always been sort of half-assing everything, or really just like, I don't know what his thing was. He was so milquetoast, just so trying to like
Ride the
make
line.
everyone. He was trying to ride the line. He was trying to make everybody happy and not fuck up. He just seemed like a guy who would just like every day wanted to work and saying, "Let me not fuck this up." I don't even care about like doing it great or whatever. I need to not fuck up the world as president. And I wish at least Trump had a little bit of that sort of in him, that feeling of like, let me not fuck this up.
Well, I mean, in I guess Trump's defense, I think he does. I just think his ideas. I think one, he's dumb, so he's just easily persuaded on what's not going to fuck the world up, and two, maybe his own ideas about what's not going to fuck the world up or just
This cute.
yeah. I don't think there is any president that really goes in thinking like I'm gonna fuck America up. No,
Not
it's
on
just
purpose.
there. Yeah, it's. I think it's just
Maybe.
things that just
Yeah,
happen.
maybe you're right.
Maybe
Or
it's
this
the
fucker's gonna
one.
grow.
Maybe it's the one who's claiming so hard to make America great again is going to be the one who's going to destroy it.
Make America
Well, I mean,
shitty.
in the sense that he wanted to.
More shitty. Make America
It's
more
like reverse
shitty.
psychology. He's
Yeah.
like, make America great again, and in the meantime, he's like, I'm going to destroy America behind closed doors.
What's real important question before we move forward? What's Vladimir Putin's porn name? Vladimir Pullout.
Putting it in,
What was it?
putting it all the way in.
Isn't there a like Spanish word for like pussy?
There's a couple. I don't want to say them though.
Oh, I don't know. It'd be pretty informational if you did.
This isn't an informational podcast.
Yeah, our audience would learn something. Our audience of 4.
I hope our audience likes our in-depth political analysis that swings wildly, and then we go into like movie stuff, like Game of Thrones. I finally buckled and watched the Game of Thrones trailer.
Oh no! Don't even talk about it.
I have to talk about
Oh,
it.
I haven't seen it specifically because I don't want to know about it.
Spoilers.
Nope.
No, there's no spoilers. It really is just like a music video, just like a bunch of random images. I mean, all you really see is like Daenerys for sure makes it to Dragonstone,
Okay.
Spoiler
and
alert.
you see some dragons and Dothraki riding, like heading into an army of like
You know what I did
Lannisters.
see? I saw a night or a what are they? I haven't watched it in so long. The Nightwalkers. What are they
Night Watch?
called? No, the ice guys, the ice zombies. What are they called?
White Walker.
White Walkers. Thank you, Jesus Christ. I saw one of the White
Big fan
Walkers on a dragon. It was like on an ad. What? What?
I've heard that too. That he's gonna end up turning one of the dragons into a zombie ice dragon.
Interesting.
And there's also things that they turn one into a zombie ice ice zombie. And other stuff. Jon Snow hanging out with Beric Dondarrion, the guy who like has a flaming sword and comes back to life. The Hound and Tormund all heading north.
Ooh, interesting.
They're looking for something.
Well, good, because Daenerys is probably going to head north. I mean, that's where she's going at some point, so they're going to meet up there.
The bad news is they got Euron Greyjoy has his fleet up, and apparently he meets Daenerys in an open sea battle.
Oh, well,
At
she's
night.
got dragons. I'm really not
We'll
scared.
I saw a lot of fire, and that could have been dragons or him.
I mean, we all know who Daenerys is. And we all know who Jon Snow is. So they're going to make it to the end. She's not going to die in the sea. She's going to make it and meet Jon Snow.
Yeah, one of those people will probably die like maybe like the second to last episode.
I think Daenerys is going to die, for sure.
I think, yeah, it seems like they're going to swing her toward being crazy. She's going to get all power hungry and crazy, and then Jon Snow is going to.
You think it'll be more like maybe revenge crazy than power hungry?
both?
Like okay.
Revenge means power. Power means revenge.
I don't think they'll do that to her.
Yeah, but what
They're
she's
gonna-
doing on purpose is
Like,
was she
taking the throne is what is right and justice. She owns it, and anything else in the way is like, fuck it.
Jon Snow's in the way.
Yeah, so that makes her the enemy, and
Yeah,
then
so it's gonna be
so all the
her.
fans have to decide who they like more. I think it's totally gonna end up with them having to fight each other.
Oh, definitely.
And fans are gonna have to decide between Daenerys and Jon Snow, and it's gonna be internet war.
I think it's got.
for real internet war.
It's gonna be the worst internet war since Jacob and Edward.
Right. For real, I was thinking the same thing.
I like Jon Snow. I don't like his character in the show. I think he's like whiny. Not anymore because he's kind of grown up, but because he was like whiny all throughout the first season and like half the second season, he's just
After dying, he's kind of really grown up.
yeah. But he's like yeah, it's too late. It's too late in my opinion. I'm already on Daenerys, but I think she's gonna die because there was it in season 3? I think she's like walking into when she
Yeah, she's like a
reunites
dream.
with Khal Drogo, and she's in the snow, and she sees him and her kid. I think it was kind of prophesizing her death, that she's going to die up north.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's going to be by Jon Snow's hand or not, I think she's certainly going to die. But if I had to pick between the two of them, knowing she's going to die, I'm still going to choose her because I still think she's better.
See-
Cool.
See, I'm all about Davros. So, like, whoever Davros chooses, I'm down. And he chooses Jon Snow for now. I don't really like Jon Snow. He's a good soldier, like a good fighter. So, like, he's not a good leader. He's not a good commander. You know,
No, spoilers alert. Spoiler alert. Rob was always my favorite.
yeah.
And Jon Snow is just like a Rob light.
Who's Rob?
Rob was his older brother who started after Ned got killed. When his dad got killed,
Yeah,
he
he
started the
took over.
war. He became king of the North and led an army south. Then shenanigans, he got killed.
Because he's dumb.
Because yeah, I mean,
He promised
'Cause-
in order to get across
of a
the
woman.
and because in order to get like across the bridge or between the two towers or something like that.
he had to cross a river, and this guy controlled the river. He had like a fort and everything there, and he was a particular family. And he said, "You can cross the river if you marry one of my daughters after the war is done." He says, "Sure, I'll do that." And the war is done. He doesn't marry the daughter. He marries some other chick.
And he gets some other chick pregnant.
So then the guy who runs the river teams up with the bad guys essentially and plots to fucking kill the guy. Spoilers.
And they kill him.
Am I doing it wrong?
Okay.
So he dies at the end of, or kind of in the middle of season 2.
Season 3. End of season 3.
Season 3.
Yeah, end of season 3, they fucking kill this guy off. So imagine you're like 3 seasons into a show, and like I'm telling you, like 5 important fucking people just get wiped out.
Yeah.
In one episode, you're like, what the fuck is this shit? Most people bailed on the show after that.
Yeah, I was pretty upset because he was one of my favorites.
So I'm watching the show with my girlfriend right now, and she just finished the first season watching Ned die. She watched Ned die and flipped out. She's like, "Nah, you said this was a good show. You said this was a good show. Fuck this show." We literally had to like wait like a couple hours, go eat some Frogurt, came back, and she's like, "Okay, I'm ready to watch the next episode."
Some emotional healing had to go on.
This is a fucking
Ned
roller
was
coaster.
even a good. I mean, I guess
was my
okay.
favorite character the first
No, he was
season.
so annoying.
He was my dude. He was so honorable.
Who's Ned?
Ned Stark, the dad. His best
Bean.
buddy was the king.
Yeah. I liked him too. I thought it was cool.
He was his whole investigation into what was going on and like trying to bring like honor into like the corrupt thing. I was like, this is an interesting
Yeah, but he's
sort of
so
twist.
like
Okay.
100% all the time. Honor. We can't do anything. Like you probably should have killed Daenerys and the what's his freaking name?
Drogo.
Varys.
Varys, the spider.
Varys, yeah. Or no, not Varys. It's
Funny,
her brother.
Funny that even Varys, if you think about Varys was supposed to be allied with her, even Varys called for her to be killed. But I wonder if he was just going along because
Isn't Varys the bald guy?
Varys is the bald
Yeah,
guy.
okay.
Varys is the spider.
Yeah, I'm talking about her brother.
Oh, Viserys.
Because that was the Viserys, thank you. That was the thing that I didn't like about Ned Stark, is that he was so honorable all the time. Instead of doing things that actually needed to get done that were less than honorable, kind of the necessary evils, he was just 100%. He wouldn't even have a discussion about it.
Okay,
just,
so-
come on.
Okay, so presented with what he had, would you have taken Remley's offer and like crowned him, backed Remley up for the throne instead of Stannis? Would you have continued trying to make Stannis? Would you have taken Baelish's offer of like making friends with the Lannisters and saying that Joffrey is the king and like what you would have done? What would you have done?
Well, I like the idea of, I would have taken Baelish's offer.
Littlefinger.
Yeah, Littlefinger's offer, just for the sake of prolonging life in order to
So you would
manipulate
have
the
allied with the
situation.
Lannisters and proclaimed Joffrey king?
Yeah, just for enough time for me to go behind the scenes and and do some meddling. But that's the thing. If you're talking about my personal preference versus what I think he should have done, but even if he would have done that, he wouldn't have like tried to kill Joffrey or anything because
I would have taken
he's too
Remley's.
noble.
I would have taken Remley's offer, funny enough.
See, I don't know, because then you're going behind Stannis, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but you're going out of order. Like, it is the wrong decision.
No, I actually this is the wrong thing. But I just was thinking about once again the safety of the moment. Like Remley had men there then and could have backed up Ned. What really fucked Ned was Baelish's betrayal. So taking Baelish's plan definitely would have been the safest thing. But he would have lost his position though. He would have maybe kept Hand of the King, but he would have lost Protector of the Realm.
He would have kept his head.
Maybe.
Maybe. That's
And they could have still totally screwed him over afterwards, after he's given Joffrey all the power.
Well, see, that's the problem with Ned, is he wasn't trying to screw them over in the first place. He should have been working on that while he was about to die.
Nah, and that's what Stannis says in the second season. Like, because Stannis gets a letter from Ned, and he's like, I'm not going to do what Ned did and not tell anybody. I'm going to tell everybody why Joffrey isn't legitimate, so that, you know, if I do die, then everyone understands why.
Maybe that's what he should have done, actually. He should
should've-
have taken Stannis, and I would have went behind Stannis, I guess. Because at least he's actually the actual true king. You have proof because you've done the research. Even though Renly was kind of there waiting, I think Stannis would have been the safer bet. But then Stannis was like tainted with the red woman.
Yeah, that was a side thing. Ned couldn't know that.
No,
And-
but when you got there, you would have realized it was a bad mistake.
But I
Like,
think
oh, shit.
Ned would have gone along with it, though. Ned would have like, well, Stannis is he's the next guy in line, regardless.
Mm-hmm.
So, no matter what, Stannis is the king. We'll have to just deal with that. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. That's sort of the way Ned says it himself. He's a soldier. He deals with the problem in front of him, and then he deals with the next one after that. He can't think laterally,
And that's why you're dead.
and that's why he died.
Because all the forward-thinking ones are still alive.
Baelish,
I like
Littlefinger.
Baelish, even though I just can't wrap my finger around like where he's going.
Yeah, some of the later season stuff was kind of baffling. What his plan is, like, is he trying to marry Sansa, or he's trying to sow chaos? I get that he's trying to like sow chaos between the Starks and the Lannisters, and that worked. But then other stuff with like making Bolton Warden of the North, and then going directly to the Queen and saying that the Warden of the North is like trying to scheme against her and shit like that, so that he gets Warden of the North.
Yeah, I don't know what he's up to.
Well, we'll see what this season. They show him having some conversations with Sansa. They show him and Jon Snow in the crypts, and Jon Snow's like trying to choke him out. So obviously he says something to Littlefinger says something to Jon Snow.
Too many spoilers.
Not like killing him, but like against the wall. Like, what the fuck did you say?
Huh.
He's probably telling him about his lineage, about who he really is, because somebody called it out. It's like there's the statue of Lyanna in the background.
Oh, well, yeah, because she's underneath the crypt anyways.
So, yeah, spoilers. But the show comes out in like 2 weeks or so.
The only thing I really hope for the show is that they make Sansa an actually badass character. I'm tired of her
Being a
like-
victim.
Yeah, and they've really like dressed her up to be kind of like a little bit eviler, to kind of have learned her lessons and not as naive, because before she was, you know, more in like bubbly colors and kind of light, and now she's like wearing darker colors. She has this image of being badass, but she's still just making stupid fucking decisions.
It'd be great if she was the one who took down Baelish in some like counter plan of his. Like if she did some shit where she turned one of his plans against him and got him killed and let him know that she was the one. That'd be a sort of a great thing for her character.
I don't know that I want her.
Because
to be a
Baelish,
little
you
bigger.
can't take Baelish out with like, you know, someone just.
Why do you gotta take Baelish out?
Because Baelish is, I think, for me, the ultimate bad guy. Like, he'll let the whole... Like, even Varys says it. Varys says he would happily burn the whole kingdom down if he could be the fucking king of the ashes.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't care. He just wants the power. And he knows he can't take it by force. He says that in, like, one of the early episodes. I'm rewatching the show. He says in one of the early episodes, like, I realized when he got beat up by Ned's brother, that he can't take power by force. He can't play their game. He has to play his own game. And that's what he's doing. So, and that's what's up. Game of Thrones. Season 8? Season 7.
Season 7.
Season
Last season, right?
Second to last season. Or technically the last season broken in half, if you
Okay.
want.
That's
Yeah, they were saying most of the episodes are going to be like an hour and a half or something
See,
like that.
I hope instead it's like they're hour episodes, but they're higher budget.
Yeah, they probably will be.
More battles, more CG, more dragons and direwolves. I think that's what it is. I think less episodes, but more higher budget per episode. That's what I hope for. Anyways.
hour and a half. That's like fucking Lord of the Rings status. Yeah, cool. And,
I can't wait for the end of this whole thing because it's gonna be epic as shit. It's gonna be like fucking giant dragons and like ice zombies fighting an open field with fucking like fire fucking wizards and shit, and fucking like guys you can like warg animals and giant creatures and fucking spiders and shit and siege weapons and emotional drama. and people who are important dying. Like, I wonder who's going to die this season. Everybody?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's gotta
I need
get dark.
Rewatch it so I can at least rewatch the last episode. So
It's
I
good.
can catch up. There's just so much that goes on.
A lot, yeah. I rewatched the first season recently, once again, and a lot happens in a season. A lot of shit happens. A lot of shit happens in an episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you forget it's an hour solid episode, so it's like a lot of shit goes down. And you're like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. At like an hour and a half each episode, you're watching a movie each time.
you're watching a movie each time, and be like, I mean, you can spread it out week to week, and I guess that's pretty good, but
What are they putting them out? They're putting them out like Monday or is it like Sunday?
I think it's Sunday. Is it like Sunday night?
Sunday. It's 2 times a week though, right?
No, it's once a week.
Once a week. Yeah.
Once a week for like, now 7 weeks, so it's just 2 months.
Yeah, I think they're Sunday night.
So for 2 months in the summer, one of the best shows ever. It's gonna be on.
That's pretty cool.
But they should have done it in the winter when more people are inside, and it's winter, so it's like you can be all like, winter is coming. Although now the hashtag is winter is here, because in the show it officially has arrived.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go.
Winter is here, hashtag 2017.
Winter is here.
How about the fact that it's 2017?
2017.
Like, I remember growing up on shows talking about how 2015 was going to be the future. Like, we're going to have all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah, and people saying, "Oh, 2020 is going to be a big year too," but it's
Like,
like,
no.
it's like 3 years away. Nothing
Now,
big's
now,
gonna
now,
happen.
now it feels like, no, 2050 is when the future is actually going to get here. When, like, actual futuristic shit. But then we get to 2050 and it's like, no, kind of the same, actually.
2050. That sounds crazy.
Yeah.
That's 30 years from now.
Crazy.
2050.
So, that's 30 years from now. Is it really that? I mean, how crazy will it be?
Okay, well, I would probably be dead. Like, to be honest, that's what would be happening.
You're nowhere near that old.
Yeah, I don't think living to like 75 is a given though.
No, it's not a given.
So yeah,
but
and
it's
I'm
more-
saying I think I'd be dead. I think chances are I'd be dead. That's all I'm saying. At 75, I think there's a 75% chance I'd be dead. That's all I'm saying.
I'm making it to 100 easy.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I'm making it above 100.
21. I'm making it to 2100.
I think if you
Ooh.
make it past, if you can naturally live past like 80, then science is going to give you another 50 years.
I
You know what
saw
I'm saying?
an article about how men have evolved a gene that lets them live longer.
Hey, that's
yeah.
cool.
I didn't actually read the article, but
Because I heard
Called
women.
testosterone.
I heard women on average live longer
Uh-huh.
than men. Just,
Oh yeah. Well, I guess like that's really what it really depends on. Like if you just take health issues, like how genetically, but if you're talking like if they're adding like men's jobs and shit like that, the military, like just if they're adding in that, that's kind of again kind of besides the point when you want to talk genetics.
But we're gonna be able to like 3D print our like organs and upgraded body parts, things like that.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
cybernetics.
not even that, just like 3D print with your own bodily tissue.
Because now all they do is
DNA.
they 3D print the structure of it in protein. So it's made out of protein anyway.
Yeah.
And then they just slap your sort of plasma on it and stem cells with your DNA, and boom, you have a heart that's literally made for you,
Yeah, it's crazy.
made to order.
They're gonna have like stuff for like women's face for aging and stuff like that, like just like cells.
Men's face too. I don't care about aging.
No, I'm saying, well, it's women that
Sexism.
I know, geez, bringing it hard.
Come on, guys, let's not be too soft around here.
But the future will have cybernetic hearts for everybody, not just transvestites. And they'll have. So now the question is whether people will swing toward biological shit or cybernetics. I don't know. I feel like the biological stuff will work in some respects, like internal organs and stuff like that. But I'd love to have a robotic arm. Maybe encase my brain in sort of some kind of like Wi-Fi shell so I can tap into and cut myself off of from the internet.
Yeah, just like upgradable parts.
Just
That
yeah,
sounds cool.
upgrade all my bits. You know, maybe some cybernetics in my eye to like increase my vision. Just subtle stuff, while at the same time doing cosmetic biological stuff and making my eyes look like a cat, so that I can. So I do the cybernetics to make myself be able to see at night, and then I make myself look biological stuff, look like a cat. And that's the future. That's what your great grandkids are going to be doing. And you'll be like, I don't understand this shit. I don't understand why everyone turns themselves into fucking pandas this year. Why are pandas in?
Well,
So-
speaking of cool futuristic things, did you guys hear they have solar paint now?
That's not really new science though, because they've had that spray solar stuff for a while now.
I've seen one that was like a television. Like you paint it on the wall, and it actually has a photo, whatever it's called, I forget. But you can actually project images and stuff through it.
That's pretty
Wow,
cool.
That's cool.
I don't know.
That's some new age stuff right there.
I read that a year or two
Well,
ago.
this one is a solar paint that absorbs water vapor and splits it and to generate hydrogen.
That's cool.
Yeah,
really
that's
cool.
different. That's new age too.
You put that on like a seaside house.
Yep, that's what they were saying. It works best in like hot climates or by the ocean because it just pulls the water vapor out of the air.
Very interesting. And probably, I mean, it's a paint, so it's probably easy to transport. You get a bunch of it to like some. You take this to like some poor village in like the Brazilian area or something like that. Suddenly they're making their own power. They're freer off the grid and shit like that.
Yep.
That's the promise of technology for me, is like making us more in tune with nature in a real way, where like us producing the things we need takes a lot less of a toll on everything else, and more self-sufficiency from smaller and smaller communities.
I wish we could go back and start like building our houses and our cities inside trees, like inside big forests, and have a more, you know, you've seen them in like video games or even TV shows where they're like tree houses all over the place. Like, we could do that if we just painted them with solar paint and put solar power on them. We wouldn't even need all of this energy grid underneath. We wouldn't need wires. We could just live in the trees up above the ground.
Don't you think it's better to like maybe like live like not in a cave but have your house in the ground sort of than to be up in a tree?
I
You know what I'm saying? You see,
I actually like the ground idea.
Right.
There's been work on stuff like more natural cooling and heating of homes by running sort of, I forget what they're called, but they're like sort of pipes that you bury next to your house, and it sort of basically makes your house sort of even with the ground, which is usually cooler than the temperature above, or usually warmer than the other temperature. Like it retains that stuff.
I just don't want to live underground.
you're not underground. You're just like
I don't want to live on the ground. I want to live up
wanna
in
live
a
up.
tree.
Then we
you'd
gotta,
be able
then
to
we gotta
take a
build.
hurricane, a goddamn like tornado.
We can end up just going above the clouds, Jetson style.
There you go.
Yeah, that's now you're not even on Earth. Now you can just go wherever you want.
And I want to live on a giant asteroid circling Mars
There you go.
and work there mining gold. I'm gonna be part of like the 2011 or the 2100 gold rush. That's where the money's gonna be at. Claim your own asteroid, make trillions on gold. People don't even know.
Or
and-
some other sort of mineral that we haven't even discovered yet.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely still spaces left in the periodic table of elements. We just found 3 new ones, and we named them after one of them named after a rock star, some rock star guy, which is pretty cool because it was like a heavy metal.
That's funny. Leave it to these nerdy scientists to do stuff like that.
So I'm saying these new school nerds are like so pop culture-y. So like you get a fucking guy who discovers a new element. It's like, I'm gonna name it after this fucking sick rock star.
That's funny.
Heavy metal, bro. No, that's good. People forget they're real people. They're regular folk.
That's true. That is.
They're just nerds. Fucking nerds.
We're people too, man.
Just nerdy people. And not that fake ass nerd shit from Big Bang Theory. That's a crappy show.
You know, I've always wanted to like get into that show, but I never did. So
I
should-
tried. I
So should
tried.
I shouldn't? Is it bad?
Personally, for me, no. Yeah, it's pretty not all that funny.
Why is it not funny?
That's a difficult question to answer because I just don't laugh. I
Well,
can't.
why
I can't.
don't you laugh?
I can't tell you why I don't laugh. I just.
I can tell you why I wouldn't laugh. Here's a question: Are the characters not believable? The
I-
actors, is the acting bad?
The acting's pretty bad. I find them.
That could be it. There you go. Then.
I find them annoying. Like I find most of the
There you
characters
go.
just annoying. Like I don't really
Let it out, man.
I don't really care about any of these people. You know, like the main guy Sheldon is just sort of like he's the most sort of like he's like douchey and like really sarcastic. So you can buy it. You can go like, okay, that's it. He's pretty sarcastic. But then his buddy is like wormy. The guy from Roseanne.
Yeah.
He's like wormy and fucking like pussified, and he's not a good straight man for
Yeah.
Sheldon.
It's really weird that they picked him,
Mm-hmm.
the actor.
Then you have like the fucking pervert guy, who's just like super, like, just like
the Indian or the
anxious.
Jew?
The Jew, who's like super wormy and super like fucking anxious and shit like that, and I find that not all that funny, especially not like as a sole character trait. Then he's like a pervert, and it's like okay. And then then you have the Indian dude who I like to a degree. He's just, they just don't do a lot with him. He's just sort of like just awkward. And then the chicks, Penny's a moron, and I do like what are the girlfriends? The one dude's girlfriend, I forget her name. But
The girl who played Blossom
played Blossom.
in the episode Blossom, or in the TV series Blossom.
I don't think I ever watched Blossom.
That's not who you're talking about. That chick.
The blonde chick with the glasses.
Oh, I guess I didn't see her. I guess I didn't watch the show.
But yeah, so I watched a bunch of kind of a bunch of the show, like a bunch of episodes, and yeah, I just don't find it all that funny. I don't like sitcoms in general, so you got to really like bring it.
Bring it.
So this is gonna piss off maybe some people, but I like New Girl.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I like New
That
Girl.
pisses me off. You're right. No, I don't care.
Triggered. No, I like New Girl better because all the characters are just sort of like a little bit more over the top, and the whole thing is sort of like silly. So it just creates an atmosphere of just shenanigans, way more than like I think Big
More
Bang.
than SpongeBob, Scorpions. I'm just kidding.
You can't just throw that out there. SpongeBob, the granddaddy of all fucking like weirdo 21st century cartoons. It's gonna be in a museum one day, I swear to God.
Friends is another really good sitcom.
Friends is okay. Friends is good.
What about Cheers? You ever see Cheers?
I did see some of Cheers
Yeah.
actually.
I don't like Cheers actually.
Oh, it wasn't funny or anything. But you know, everybody knew my name.
I hated MASH.
I liked Wings. That was a really good one.
Wings is okay actually. Yeah, I liked Wings.
I used to watch Nick at
Deep
Night all
cuts.
the time.
I used to like Keenan and Kel. I used to like. It's all over the place because like no one can judge how old we are because we're talking like 80s shows, 2000s shows. It's great.
What other ones were good?
A lot of them.
There's a lot.
There's a lot of shows. A lot of shows now. I like that we're past the age. I don't know if I said this before. We're past the age of like reality TV being dominating television, and now we're in the last bunch of years we've been like back to really good written shows and good productions and stuff like that. It's been really good. It's been really awesome.
Yeah.
Glad we're
Yeah,
Past it.
it's a little bit too awesome though because I have so many shows on my list that I need to watch that I haven't watched.
Well, don't worry. When the lull comes back and it's all back to crappy reality TV shows, then you'll have all the time in the world to like catch up on all the shows you missed. No, but I agree. There ends up being a lot of shows out there that I'm like, oh wow, this is really good. So I watched The 100, and even though I feel like it probably isn't the best thing I could be watching, I still am
No,
enjoying the
it's
shit
the
out.
best thing you could be watching.
When I watch Game of Thrones, I feel like this is the best TV I can get my hands on right now. This is the best show out there.
Best TV I can get my hands on. That sounds hardcore.
It is hardcore. It's the best show.
It is the best.
It is literally on the level of Game of Thrones, in my opinion,
I
as
don't-
far
I don't-
as some of the like goriness is right up there.
Wrong. No, I think it's very good.
Why is she wrong? Like, I don't watch shows, so, but I want to know what's good.
I don't watch shows, so you got to see where I'm coming from. I don't watch I watch anime if I'm gonna watch a series.
It's
of
not
things.
So
like
you're including anime when you say wrong? You're including anime when you say wrong to, you said
No, I separate anime when it comes to all this
okay,
stuff.
that's what I thought.
I put it in its own box.
Yeah.
Live action television.
She said something you said wrong, I just want to know why it's wrong.
The 100 is as good as Game of Thrones.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll let the comment section deal with that. Just kidding.
Fuck the comment section.
No one's in our comments.
I feel as though not a lot of people have really seen The 100 though, because it's probably deemed more of those like teenage shows, and it's so underrated
You
because
just
of
said
that.
there's gore in it, like.
There is. That's
Like-
what I'm saying. It's underrated though, but it's on the same channel that produces Pretty Little Liars and Vampire Diaries and
okay.
stuff. It's by the same
I
group
get
of
it.
people. So
And then imagine if I don't watch it on CW. I watch it on Netflix. So I imagine if you're like flipping through CW and you see a trailer or like the little spots they do where they have everyone all posed, you just go, oh, a bunch of teeny boppers on some like gay ass post-apocalyptic show. It's like whatever. So, and I felt the same way when you watch the first couple episodes. It's basically like that. Then it flips on a dime on you. It's like it's a bit more real to it, and it's always shifting. It's always like shaking the floor from under you. Like you think this is what's going on. No, this is what's going on.
Yeah, and
you're
I
like,
mean,
oh, okay.
it's
Well,
not-
no, this now. And you're like, fuck.
it's not Game of Thrones level where characters are going to die. Like none of the core characters
For me, I think it's-
have really died, so you never have that threat of that Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
gives
and the
you.
acting never hits the levels that Game of Thrones. Like in Game of Thrones, dude, every random fucking actor is like top fucking tier. They sell the shit out of this fake world. In 100, there is some crap. Clark, I don't think Clark is a very strong actress.
See, I don't generally pay too much attention to somebody's acting unless
It's
it's,
whether they
obviously in my
if
face.
they sell it to me.
And
If
for
they-
her,
if
she's
they-
not obviously in my face. I buy her character. I buy who she is. So I don't have a problem with her acting. I think they're all fine actors.
I think Bellamy's like one of the strongest actors.
Yeah,
for-
Bellamy's a really good actor.
He said, like when he's emotional and shit, when shit's getting real, he sells me on what's going on. He sells me on his conflict. I don't get it as much. I don't get it as much from like what you call it. So that's one of the things that like sort of holds me back from saying the show is even as good as Game of Thrones.
But I think Bellamy's character is more complex than Clark's is anyways. So it's not
Clark
like...
has plenty of things to be conflicted about, and
Yeah, but Bellamy's on a different level. He's like this evil he's not evil, but he's like conflicted between his morality and his being good and not having shame and doing immoral things. When Clark, I think, is just kind of one of those like Ned characters where she's just like, oh, she kind of just does everything good.
The thing they always say
what's
is,
happening
yeah.
with her. Like the worst that happened to her is her dad died. Like that's the only conflicting thing.
and she had to kill her boyfriend,
yeah, well,
in
I
fr-
mean,
so that she had to decide to kill her own boyfriend, and she had to decide to wipe out an entire like population of people. Spoilers, including women and children. Bellamy made a decision with her, but
and so did
that Asian dude, I forget his name. He's getting more. I watched a couple episodes of the newest season, season 4.
yeah.
Season 4, and I gotta see where it's going.
They haven't started yet.
They haven't really started doing anything yet. Like they set up the problem. So spoilers. I don't know who's watching this thing anymore because of all the spoilers.
Well, you probably watch farther than me, so don't spoil.
Oh no, just the fact that the nuclear power plants are all blowing up now,
Oh, yeah.
and they got that they're figuring out, and yeah, and figure out Roan is the king of all the tribes now.
I really want to watch House of Cards.
I heard House of Cards is really good.
That
See, that's the
was
thing.
good.
So there's a whole bunch of shows that are fucking amazing. House of Cards is one of them. It's like, yeah, I heard it's really good.
That's why they
Or
need to stop.
True Detective, or
Man on the High Castle looks really good.
Men in High Castle I'm very interested in because I read some of the book back in the day and stuff like that. And it was actually, I was going to call myself Man in the High Castle. And before I said Man Behind the Curtain. So it was like one of the last, it was one of those, the last votes, like the short list.
Yeah.
I felt like,
It's like you like them both, but just like which one would I just use?
yeah. So, and I felt like Man Behind the Curtain is the most pretentious I could possibly be. So So that's definitely the one I picked. Like, I just felt like Man in the High Castle just wasn't pretentious enough. Sometimes I feel like changing it because I feel like it's just a little too much. But fuck it. No one else had it, so it's mine now.
Fuck it.
Fuck it, I did it live.
Oh, Bill O'Reilly. Where is he nowadays?
Bill O'Reilly is starting his own news.
Yeah, it's failing.
Well, yeah, it's starting. It's a startup. It'll
It's not
fail.
gonna win. Who listens to Bill O'Reilly? It's old people. Old people are not going to go on the internet to go find Bill O'Reilly's podcast.
And he's not hardcore right enough to bring in sort of the fringe guys to hold him up.
Yeah.
I think he's going down.
He's too mainstream
Yeah,
for
Alex
that.
Jones kicks his ass.
I
Yeah,
heard.
he's too mainstream for those guys, and he's too right wing for everyone else.
I heard
So-
that they're trying to get him on the Blaze,
Yeah,
which
he
is
was
also
gonna-
failing.
Maybe not if it's got
Again,
That's why
Bill
they're trying to get him
O'Reilly.
on there. But
and it's the same thing. It's media is being like polarized. So like, on the right, it's like unless you're super hardcore, you know, you're Alex Jones, you're Stormfront, you know, even Breitbart. Breitbart fired a bunch of its like hardcores. It fired one lady for saying some anti-Muslim stuff. It fired Liz Struzum, who's a guy I follow on Twitter, who's a right winger. So they're firing a lot of the guys that give them their cred, and people are like pushing away from Breitbart and going like, you guys are cucks now, you know. One of my favorite quotes is like it's an appropriation of a quote actually is either you die an edgelord or you live long enough to see yourself become the cuck.
What's an edgelord?
Edgelord is someone who just posts wild ass shit because it's edgy.
because you're so
You-
fringy.
You're so fringy. You're so fucking like off the norm.
All right, now say it again.
It's like the Batman. It's the Batman quote. You either die an edgelord, or you live long enough to see yourself become the cuck.
Okay.
So edgelords are. It's just a fun way of calling somebody who's like really pushing shit, either for real political reasons or just trolling. They're just being edgy for edgy.
Okay, I got you.
So and that's the thing. Breitbart was edgy. Breitbart was pushing it. Breitbart was fringe and right wing, and was telling stories that people weren't talking about. And they're firing guys now. So now the hardcores are like, no, you're not as cool as you used to be, bro. And because they're losing advertisers, you know, they're losing mainstream advertisers who don't want to be associated with that shit. So they got to choose between either going hard right to see if they can get a base going of people to pay them directly through like Patreon or something like that, or straight up donations, or try to go more mainstream so that they can get their advertisers back.
Right.
And they're stuck in a conundrum of what they want to do, and that's happening to a lot of right wing circles now because now it's all tied up on Trump. If you're anti-Trump, then you're left. So even right wingers who are anti-Trump are just being fucking like say like, nope, you're not part of the tribe now.
That's fine though, because there are anti-Trump people who are on the right, like Ben Shapiro, that have enough of a following that it's kind of making it okay to be a Republican who doesn't support Trump. If you're part of that new kind of generation of people who are following new media outlets, because I would say Ben Shapiro was somebody who's part of the upsurge of new media.
He's part of those like weird faux centrists, I think, who like try to play it up. They're both sides, and
I mean, I think he's definitely more right-leaning than he is left-leaning. I follow him on Twitter, and he says some just crazy right-wing shit.
what are you gonna do? Yeah, I follow a ton of right wingers, Trump and anti-Trump actually.
Trump. Can't get enough of those Trump tweets.
Oh yeah,
I wish we lived on the East Coast though, so that we were more up to date with the time, so I could like wake up and experience it more. Because after I
That's
sign
funny.
on, I'm on at like 9. It's like 12 o'clock over there,
Uh-huh.
and I'm like, oh no, this Twitter storm's already started around Trump stuff. I want to be on the breaking.
He
edge.
gets up early, man. He gets up early. The first thing he does is like he gets his. If I'm understand, he gets like the sort of breakdown of all the basic news that happened that morning, that night, whatever, and like bullet point form. And then he goes on his fucking Twitter rampage and shit like that. You can see people online like when a story breaks, like, oh, can't wait to hear fucking Trump's Twitter rampage on this one. Sometimes they're the best, dude.
Yeah, me and Chris were looking at him yesterday while we were.
Yeah, he just tweeted 23 hours ago, "Make America Great Again," all caps. It's just so funny.
And there's a lot of reporting on how he has like a good chunk, about a little under half of his followers are bots, paid for bots or something like that, promoted bots. Which means a lot of his likes and shit like that are promoted.
Oh, he's only following 45 people.
Who does he follow?
Tucker Carlson.
Of course he fucks.
Fucking hate
Tuck
Tucker
the cuck.
Carlson. Kellyanne Conway. The Trump Organization. Trump Golf.
You know, golf is one of the main things he makes money on right now. It's mostly his golf courses making money.
Really? That's
And-
interesting, actually.
Who's Vanessa Trump? Is that...
I think
I
he
thought you were asking me. I was like, I don't know. Like I'm supposed
he
to
has
know.
sisters and brothers. People don't talk about them because they're actually like fairly normal people. Like they're not like great people or anything like that, but they're not in the fucking limelight that this guy is.
I think it is one of the son's wives.
Oh, okay.
She has got 5 kids.
All with
1,
him?
2, 3, 4, 5.
What does she do?
She's way out of his league, but he's rich, so it's all
Yeah.
good.
Is she way out of his league?
Yeah. Show him.
Which brother is it? Because there's one that looks like a normal person and one looks like
It's
a
the
fucking.
normal.
This, yeah.
Yeah, like I think that dude could bag her with like a regular job, like if he was like a fucking lawyer or some
Maybe.
shit.
Yeah, I think so. too.
Not if he's making under $60,000. He's not.
Interesting. I have it on here. There's a funny meme that somebody took of the 2 brothers and put it up against. I'm sure it's from like an 80s show, but they're like 2 mutant boys and they look just like them.
That's hilarious.
Oh, that's Goonies.
Is it the
And
Goonies?
it's just one mutant boy.
No, that's not Goonies.
Is it Ed and Eddie cartoon? Those things look like fucking mutants.
Ren and Stimpy?
Was it Cow and Chicken?
I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I'm just yeah,
Toxic Avenger.
It's not a cartoon.
Good one. Swamp Thing.
No. I've not seen any of these. I can't
Oh,
remember.
the Cabbage Patch, the Garbage Pail Kids.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I bet you it's the Garbage Pail Kids. Look that up.
Don't look it up.
Because I guarantee the one
You
brother
don't want
looks
to see
like.
garbage.
No,
Pail.
it's sickening. It's actually sickening.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling her. She doesn't want to look at.
It's as bad as the Genesis video where that guy eats a hot dog made of his own tongue.
Why isn't this working? Garbage Pail Kids. No, wasn't this. Hold that thought. Post production.
Intermission.
Let me go grab my phone. 'Cause I don't
And we're here back at WKLB 97.1.
The Quiet Storm. Right now. So yeah, what are we gonna talk about today, guys?
Oh, here it is.
Today we're going to talk about orgasms and how. That is Goonies. That's what I said.
That was gonna be. Hey, you
I told
guys.
you, and I said only one of them was fucked up.
Yeah, I told you I've never
Well,
seen
I mean,
it, so I don't know.
That's relative. That kid is fucked up.
He's not, well, she said they're both mutants.
Well,
and
I
only
thought
one's
they
a
were.
mutant.
Whatever.
And yeah, it's all good. He did look like a mutant, though, both of them.
Yeah.
It's like I can understand. I can understand why one would call him that. He was horrible looking. Goonies, yeah, 80s.
Didn't like the Goonies. Didn't like Beetlejuice. Get used to it.
Get over it. Hillary lost.
Are you eating?
Are you eating?
I wasn't chewing.
That's what it sounds like, though.
I wasn't chewing like that. I swear to God, I
It's
wasn't.
crazy what the mic picks up.
Yeah,
though.
no,
Like, I'm starting to realize that sound I was making earlier was like me, my restless foot.
Because the last one you posted, somebody was eating something and I could hear it.
It was me.
Yeah, we
But
could hear it.
I was eating something. I wasn't eating like a piece of cheese that doesn't make noise. I wasn't doing that. We're gonna go back and we're gonna see.
Back to the tape.
Yeah.
Reverse tape.
Melania Trump has her eyes as her like cover photo for her Twitter page.
Jesus.
That's kind of weird.
So when is she gonna start her
She's
anti-bullying campaign? Anti-cyberbullying. Never? Is that
She
never?
hasn't posted anything since November 8th.
Because all she wanted to do was just marry a rich guy, and stay in the country because she was an immigrant.
Check and check.
And she didn't want to fucking deal with all this shit. That's
No.
why she doesn't want to be in Washington. Because she
Trump
was,
follows all of his Trump stuff. He follows Trump Washington D.C., Trump Los Angeles, Trump Charlotte, Trump Vegas Hotel, Trump Waikiki,
does he follow any news organizations?
Bill O'Reilly, Greta Van Susserton,
Is she at MSNBC right now?
Piers Morgan,
Huh.
Vince McMahon,
McMahon? Oh, okay. I'm thinking Vince McMahon, WWE.
Eric Bowling, Fox News, Mark Burnett, Gary Player, Geraldo Rivera, Fox and Friends he follows.
Fox and Friends.
Corey Lewandowski.
Fuck my friends.
You follow Ann Coulter?
Do I? Yes.
I can see who you follow. See, check it out, bro. If you go through their follows, you can see the blue ones, the ones that she actually follows as well.
Yeah, I want to see the stupid ass shit she has to say. Oh, he follows Diamond and Silk. Donald J. Trump's most outspoken and loyal supporters. Diamond and Silk. Women United for Trump. Well, they're all about their Trump.
Yeah, this is what living in a gaslighted world looks like.
Yep.
This is what living in an alternate universe looks like.
I want to watch their
For
vlogs.
those people who don't know, what's gaslighting mean?
Gaslighting is, well, here, a simple way of explaining it is to just watch the movie Girl on a Train. Then when you get the twist of that movie, you'll understand what gaslighting is and how dangerous it is.
Or you can watch the movie Gaslight, where the name comes from.
Or I could look up the definition.
Google it. Or you can just listen to me. You can just play this section of the podcast or listen to the whole podcast. And
The whole podcast is just gaslighting in action.
I mean, yeah, this podcast is basically me
Girl on the
gaslighting.
Train. I heard of that movie. You know, I know it's a book. I know it's like
You watched that movie.
I didn't see that movie.
I'm pretty sure you watched it. It was with Emily Blunt, and she was a drunk, and then it turned out that she wasn't really that bad of a drunk.
No. You said Girl on the Train. I thought you said Girl. I was thinking
on
Girl
the Train.
Tattoo.
Yeah.
Girl
Girl
Jack-
Tattoo.
I've never seen that. I've never seen either one of the versions of that. But back to gaslighting. Gaslighting is essentially what the president does, where he basically just lies, right? But he lies in a way to present a different reality than the one that you live in. And he basically says that anything that you believe is crazy and wrong and isn't reality. So gaslighting is an attempt to sort of like make you question your own reality to the point where you believe their reality. So a lot of different methods to doing it. Lying, pervasively lying, chronically lying is a way of gaslighting somebody. Pushing, constantly telling someone that they're crazy for thinking a thing. That's crazy. You're stupid. You're crazy. That's a way of gaslighting somebody. Some people do it by accident. You just don't realize. You really feel like maybe they're wrong or they're crazy for thinking a thing, or you're actively trying to affect their reality.
Gaslighting.
And it's especially dangerous when a president of the United States decides to gaslight his citizens, decides to paint a world that isn't reality, and claim that anyone who says different is an enemy of the state. You can't go out there and say, I hope there aren't tapes of our conversations, and then turn around and go like, but I don't have any of these kinds of tapes. I don't know if they exist, but everybody better hope they don't exist. Just saying. Or say that that 3 million plus people illegally voted in an election, and that's why you also should have won the popular vote. That if you and you present nothing to support it, that's gaslighting. That's you lying to people to present a false world where this thing happened, and nothing proves that it has happened.
But I mean, he's gonna have to start facing reality, like you were saying earlier in the podcast. Reality is coming at him hard.
Yeah, and the scary part is watching his constituents bend over backwards to sort of forgive it. I actually have a short meme that says the 5 stages of Trumpism.
I don't think Trump will get impeached, though. At least not with everything that's out there now. He has to. All this is going to blow over, and then if he gets impeached, it's going to be after something that we're not dealing with right now. If he gets impeached now. That's what I think.
I think we get embroiled in a world war
Okay.
that solidifies his authoritarian power for the next 100 years.
Wow.
And
Insane.
our children will be fighting the freedom wars against the robot armies and wishing that we had just fucking stepped up and done something.
Isn't there another vote for Congress coming up?
2018, there's a thing, late 2018. So,
Will anything change?
well, here's the thing. That's the thing. Everything has to change.
Okay, that's
Because if we get a bunch of lefties in there, then that's more congressional pressure. Because Congress is the only one who can call for Trump's impeachment. They're the only body that has the power to do it. So we need to take the majority, and so that we can actually put pressure on him to either step up or get impeached for real shit. And it also depends on Mueller's investigation. Mueller's investigation is going to run into next year for sure. So that's a good sort of like political football to throw around, at Trump at opponents of or to Trump's people, people who are already running for Congress. Like, hey, he's a guy literally under investigation right now. Do you really want to be associated with that guy? Do you want to be part of this Congress that like builds a healthcare system that throws people on their ass, makes little cancer kids die? Is that what you want to be a part of? And for me, the John Ossoff stuff just sort of shows that even in deep red states, a Democrat can fucking make something happen. You get some Bernie bros out there, might make some moves.
So how do you guys feel about contact lenses for video gaming? Wear them on your eyeballs.
So then you see the images of the game?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I'm
Instead of
okay
a
with
big
that.
headset.
I mean, yeah, if it functions, I don't see any real
They're doing the
issue.
same thing for like computers and stuff like that. Take pictures, take video.
That's
all.
so cool. Augmented reality too. They have.
Yep. That's all that stuff in the contacts.
Yeah, no, that seems fine. The whole problem with VR in general is that like people aren't going to be where they are physically. Like they're going to be sitting in their living rooms, and someone could like walk in and like take their shit, and they're just too busy playing Call of Duty.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. If I could be so immersed into a game that I can't even register somebody
Someone
stealing shit
steal
around
your
me, that's
shit.
the kind of game. That's the kind of system
That's
I need
immersion
to be in.
right there.
Yeah, that's the level.
Take
I'm
that,
at.
virtual boy.
I mean, if Virtua Boy is at least in 2 other colors, not just red, it might have worked. But man, that red was just oppressive. Just oppressive.
R.I.P. to all the corneas that are no longer existing.
Hashtag retinal surgery.
We need to take like do a documentary on all the people that professionally played that. And they're all like blind.
Speaking of which, professional gaming's fucking exploding, man. I mean, it's already been exploding, but like, Counter-Strike is a thing. Like, that's like a fucking 20-year-old game plus. And it's like still competitively played.
Yeah, I feel like I really miss my mark sometimes with video games as they start to get more and more popular and more competitive. Just like, damn it. Everyone was telling me this wasn't going to amount to nothing. It's like you didn't invest in it.
And that's the problem with old people who don't get like, but everyone who's growing up with it is going to make it a thing.
Yeah. Or like these YouTube channels that are exploding.
Yeah.
There was not a whole lot of girls playing video games when I was playing video games. If I would have just got on that shit and started recording myself while playing video games, I feel like I'd have an elevated status.
No, for sure. You still could.
I still could. Cause
It's saturated, but it's not.
And the nice thing is that I was watching one of those Birdman videos. I don't know if you know who that is. He like plays video games and just talks. And he was going after these girls that were playing video games on Twitch and stuff, and saying that they need to go somewhere else because they're not actually playing video games. They're just there for the attention. It's like, ooh, that sounds like a market that needs to be tapped. Like girls that are actually good at playing video games that aren't just there, like pouring themselves out.
I had this argument. Yeah, I had this argument with a dude a while back about that, like how there's a whole swath of them who literally just wear low-cut shirts and laugh and giggle and like literally like go and bend over in front of the camera pretending to do something, so it's all about just sort of like, because they know what guys are there to do, just to watch them and get G-rated fucking like sex stuff out of
They're
them.
there to see cleavage.
They're there to see cleavage, and they're there to see like a giggly chick do the thing, and so there's a whole bunch of chicks who just see like, oh, there's a market there for that. Let's make it happen. And so then it creates a stigma for all chicks who actually do want to fucking do it. It's like a chick can like play video games and wear a low cut shirt if that's what she's wearing today, but now she's got to be stigmatized into being like, oh, she's just fucking showing her tits off for attention. It's like,
Well, I
no.
think the way that you could tell is what games they're playing and how good at them they are. Because what they're doing is they're also skewing the name for like a gamer girl. That they're like, oh, all these gamer girls are just kind of good. Like they're just shitty. You know what I mean? Because they're only into it because they want guys' attentions or whatever. But then when you have girls that are actually playing pretty well, you like drag their names through the mud. You're like, oh, it's just a girl playing. They're not really good at playing. They're just in it for the attention.
But
That's
you
why
can,
you
I think you
take
can
it
easily
back.
tell which one's which.
That's what I'm saying by the
Yeah.
games that they're playing and how good they're playing on them.
But then it's gonna be like chicks gotta be almost like competitive level,
Yeah.
just to impress somebody. Like, okay, she knows what she's doing. All right, all right. Nice shirt though. Show me your tits. It's like, oh, that's a sweet fucking that's a sweet dunk on NBA Live. Now show me your tits.
Have any of you guys played with the PlayStation's VR set?
No.
Have you
No,
used any
no.
VR sets?
I've not used VR yet. I'm still waiting for the next gen ones. This is all the ones that come out this year are going to be like basically prototypes.
When I was playing Jason, the guy was saying he was using the VR set to play it. I was like, what? I need to get me a VR set.
They remodeled Skyrim into VR,
Yes.
so now you can play it in
See, I'm
VR.
down for it now.
That seems fun because like it already plays sort of like really good in first person.
Yeah. And then maybe what even need first person is just like controlling the camera, kind of. If you're playing third person like a Jason, you just control the camera around a little bit more. Just walk forward and backwards. I'm ready for it.
I'm waiting for Fallout VR. Dum, dum, dum. That's gonna be sick. So yeah, VR is gonna be cool, just not yet. It's expensive and not really great. I know.
Yeah,
that-
it's like $400.
Yeah, the machines that are coming out now aren't going to be the best machines. So I'll wait. It's like everything else. I haven't even gotten like a 4K TV or anything because I'll wait. They're just making HDs cheaper, so that's good.
So that's the thing, why would I get a 4K TV when I could just have it on my face? Like, I just want
I want
the unit
HD
on my face.
I want 8K holograms. Then I'll, even though I don't think it'll be measured that way.
I want a suit that I can get into. And like a track, like a big ball.
But yeah, so that kind of like sensation suit, copywritten.
No, so I'm reading that Ready Player One game, and they have he just bought like a suit, so he has got a full suit, and he's got like a treadmill that's omnidirectional, so he can just kind of go everywhere. It makes smells, so you can you can smell the atmosphere that they're in. It's the coolest thing. It's like I want that. I mean, you can turn it off. He usually, if he says he turns his off, but
So yeah,
as
like,
reading
I'm
this
sorry,
game-
but smell-o-vision. That's like the one piece of like innovation that I can do without.
No, like, I think it would be so cool to be running around in like an open world and smell like the grass and the trees.
And the coppery smell of blood everywhere.
Oh, it's not like there's just a blanket code
Depends on the
for-
game you're playing, right? If you're playing like what was the game you guys were playing earlier? The shooter.
Killzone.
If you're playing Killzone, you're like in like derelict fucking like refineries, and killing folk on an alien planet. Like the smells,
smell it.
the smells are not going to be
I want to smell it.
pleasant.
I don't need them to be pleasant. I just need them to smell real. And if they're gonna make the blood smell, maybe I want to smell blood. That's the
Maybe
smell
she
of
want-
victory.
There you go.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Well, I got it here. Okay, as I was saying, right, real quick. Okay, what do you guys think? Okay, you can only grab one. Which one you taking? Do you take South Park? Or I'm sorry, do you take South Park or do you take Family Guy?
South
Park.
Really? Man, that's crazy. Because I think I'd take Family Guy.
I like Family Guy, but
I think I can
I
watch
like
it
South
more.
Park.
That's the thing. I can watch more South Park than I can Family Guy. Family Guy I can throw in the background and stuff, and so it's fine. But I feel
That's
like
cool.
I'd pay more attention to an episode of what you call it.
Yeah, I think South Park's just a little bit smarter. Sometimes Family Guy just does dumb stuff
Yeah.
just for the sake of doing dumb stuff.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes it's just
So it's more for background, I think, than for actually sitting down. and
sort of
watching it.
passively watching it.
If I had to sit down and watch Family Guy like 100%, I don't know if I could do that.
So the only show I have on, it's like, oh.
Man, I could totally get down on that this whole time. That's funny.
I'm sure Seth MacFarlane loves you.
Seth MacFarlane posted some dumb shit like a month ago.
Oh, like what? Let's hear it.
He posted a tweet that said, in this upcoming election,
Oh, I remember that one.
think about here. Let me find it. Hold on, because I twisted it. I twisted it. I retweeted it because I thought it was just some
Get twisted.
dumb shit. Here, and this makes our conversation go full circle. Let me find it. So basically, don't you know, if you're in a platform where you have the ability to endorse or even shed light on the idea of better candidates, and you're instead using your platform to tell people, just vote for the one that's the lesser of two evils, is basically his argument. It's like, why don't you use your
But isn't that
platform?
what Bernie wanted to, though? Bernie wanted the same thing, so...
Yeah, and I didn't agree with Bernie when he wanted that either.
Well, it looks like they all have the same ideals.
And they're just wrong ideals. I don't know. You're Seth MacFarlane, though. It's like, I understand why Bernie Sanders did it. Bernie Sanders was in kind of a tough predicament. So I have more understanding and less annoyance in my heart towards his decision as opposed to Seth MacFarlane. And who was that other girl that, like, Sarah Silverman, I think she was? She, like, stood up. She's like, you Bernie people need to basically get your head out of your asses and make the right decision.
And no surprise,
Things like that.
her, McFarlane, and Bill Maher are all besties forever and ever.
Of course they are. Bill Maher's, it's funny because I was watching, because Secular Talk Guy and his friend do a podcast too, and they were ragging on Bill Maher for the same thing, kind of being an ass lately. Like, sometimes when he's an ass on things that you agree with him on, you're like, yeah, it feels really good. And then when he's an asshole on things you don't agree with him on, you're like, this fucker.
That's the thing that always made me not like Bill Maher, because, like, even when I agree with him, it's like he's being a dick about it.
I always thought he was real pretentious. Like, that's the only person I'll really call pretentious that I know.
Like,
is Bill Maher. Yeah.
Same thing with like same thing with like Neil deGrasse Tyson. Like, I agree with Neil deGrasse Tyson
like him.
and his push for certain things, but it's like, man, you were sometimes kind of a dick about it.
But sometimes you have to be a dick about it. Especially if you're talking about, you know, religious type things, which is why I gravitated towards Bill Maher initially, because he was kind of like an asshole with regards to religion. And I think you kind of have to be insufferable about it, because they are insufferable. They're just dumb. It's an obvious bad choice. It's obvious bad in society. Religion is, in my opinion. So I feel like being insufferable about it is right. But if you're talking about politics and you're literally campaigning for the lesser of two evils, and you're mad at other people who won't accept that to me is just, and then you're being an ass about it, like you said. Like, I think there's some things you can be insufferable about, and there's other things you should be more nuanced about, less of an ass about, and be like, hey. But Neil deGrasse Tyson is the same kind of way in his science, but he's right. So, you know, you could be kind of pompous when you're talking about science because you're being pompous about facts.
I mean, it gets you the presidency these days, so.
What does being insufferable?
Being an insufferable douchebag, even and especially if you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah.
So.
That is true.
Imagine if we got an insufferable douchebag who actually knows what the fuck he's talking about. That'd be fun. Be kind of cool.
What's happening?
I don't know.
It's hot here in Seattle.
It's hot everywhere. I saw pictures of Arizona.
Oh, shit's melting.
Shit is melting. Like, their trash cans, those big blue fucking, they're melting in the streets.
It's only 85 degrees and it's just too hot for me.
It's living it up.
It's supposed to be, it hit a high of 89 today. I'm sure there are people elsewhere in Arizona who are listening to us who are just laughing. It's too hot at 85, I'm dying.
It's pretty cool. It sucks at night though. Like, you feel like you just can't cool off at night.
It was like 64 last night though.
In my room, it was like 75.
Oh, you don't have a
I don't have a
fan in your room?
Yeah, I don't have a fan.
The fan wasn't even on though, was it?
Yeah.
I have my
The
window
was
open all day, so
Yeah.
I'm taking in all the hot outside air and what you call it. I do have the Whole Foods. I have an update on the Whole Foods
Okay.
Do it.
thing. It's basically an idea of what they're gonna probably do with their Whole Food stores.
Oh, this is good to know.
So what they're gonna do is actually, they already have. It's funny enough, they're actually experimenting with a thing called Amazon Go here in Washington, and it's basically a brick and mortar store, but you pay for it. And it's actually only for their employees right now. It's in full on beta, but the software involves basically the store tracks wherever you go in the store and whatever you have in your bag and whatever you've picked up and stuff like that. And when you walk up the store with it, it automatically charges you. So there's no waiting in line for registers and all that shit. It knows what you've taken, and it charges you on your card that you've already pre-established with them.
That's pretty
Yeah, they're
sweet.
building one for the public though in downtown Seattle. I've driven past it.
So yeah, that's part of what they bought Whole Foods for, was to sort of use their infrastructure to start putting Amazon Go's everywhere. And so it's an interesting thing.
I think it's great.
It's interesting.
Very interesting. And the article was mostly about the AI aspect of it, the deep learning AI, and how it's going to be. The hard part is making sure that 100% accuracy of everything you grabbed is like priced out. You know, you don't get charged for something you didn't grab.
Right.
You know, all that kind of good stuff. And I wonder what that does to like things like shoplifting. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like
probably.
suddenly, if suddenly like there's a barcode on the thing, and no matter where you have it hidden on your body, it scans the barcode.
Pretty much going to eliminate that.
You pretty much could eliminate.
Because I think you can
Random
only get
shoplifting.
into the shops if you have like an Amazon
Yeah,
Prime
you
account.
have some kind of app. You have to have some kind of app and account with them. I'm sure anybody could walk in there, I guess, but leaving the store with the product, have alarms goes off or some shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's definitely what I think they're gonna do with Whole Foods. Just take their stores, expand them out, make them all Amazon Go's.
And really just the marketing of where they're getting their, because Whole Foods is really good at locally sourced things. So just to have those already set up, you can just take those connections already and kind of implement them into the Amazon Go store.
And with more money that Amazon's bringing, they can more bulk buy a lot of this stuff and bring the prices down a bit. So they'll have actually maybe better prices than Whole Food has.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I think people are always scared to go forward in things like this because you're going to lose a lot of jobs, obviously. But I mean, this really is the future, so it's kind of inevitable.
Yeah, I mean, this technology eliminates all cashiers.
Yeah. So I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's what's going to happen with technology. So we need to brace for it, but also stop trying to. I don't want to say like hinder it. Like people who are going to be opposed to this are going to want to stop us from doing this. But this is the future. This is where we're going. This is the trajectory.
And the thing for me, we need to move past a post-capitalist world. If a robot's taking everyone's job is going to be a thing, either train people in fucking computer electronics and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's. I mean, what we should be doing is making
everybody a computer software engineer.
Yeah, and making as robots just kind of like our slaves in the sense. Like, why we had slaves back then as was justified by the South, because if they're doing our hard work, then we can do luxury things and we can enjoy the fruits of those labors. So it's the same kind of idea here, but now we have the ability to do it without negative moral attachments to it. So really the purpose is just to let them
to a degree
to run all of what we're doing so that we can just lounge around all day and just enjoy the arts. And
that should be the goal. It's like, yeah, let's push for more robotics doing more and more of our work for us so that we can sort of hang out.
But the transition period is going to be the hard.
This is we're in the. That's the thing. I wish I wish I was born 100 years from now or more, because we're going to be in a very tumultuous time when all these new technologies are rubbing up against a system built on people working, built on a lot of people having money to throw into a system.
Yeah, that's why we really can't get around not funding education for people anymore. Like this idea that, oh well, you should just get your student loans and just go to college if you can do it that way. I think the idea of fully funded tuition-free education is literally where we have to go, because there is no more room for people who just decide college isn't for them. Like, no, you need to go and you need to learn some sort of trade, because if you don't, there's nothing to fall back on. You can't be a cashier forever. You're not going to be able to work in retail or waitressing or any of these jobs that have just happened to catch you now that in society. There will be no more of those.
There'll be no entry-level work.
Nope.
There'll be no place where some college kid can get a job while he's in school.
Mm-hmm.
These things will all disappear because it's all going to be done by robots. And that's not even including other high-end jobs. Surgery is going to be done by robots. Mm-hmm. All bus driving is going to be done by robots. Taxi driving, Uber driving is going to be all done by robots. Stock trading is going to be done by robots. Like, it isn't just entry-level shit. It's going to be almost every sort of major job that AI can replace will replace. And that's just not viable if you're living in a system where people need to exchange stuff for stuff. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? In a way of I build enough personal wealth to exchange things for stuff. Like, it's just not going to work if people are just losing their jobs across the board. I'm not going to be able to start a car driving company or a car company that sells SUVs if no one has enough money to buy SUVs anymore.
Yep.
The whole system's going to collapse if we don't move past sort of the capitalist setup.
But we kind of need the capitalist setup for what it does to push the marketplace forward and pushing technologies forward. So you kind of need that incentive. So what's the incentive when you have robots running everything and we're really not making any money? What's the incentive to push technology farther? To create the next big thing? There really isn't.
There really is. It just doesn't have to be money. People. Making the world a better place. Being impressive. Showing off. People, because money is still a status symbol. You're rich, so you can show off how fucking rich you are. You can do things. People who make robots and build software are still going to be the coolest people on the block. People who know this stuff versus people who don't know this stuff are still going to be the coolest motherfuckers you know. And they're going to be the celebrities. On top of people who are actually celebrities, who sing songs and stuff like that.
Yeah, but is that enough, I guess, to work hard every night to literally invent something that's never been invented before?
What else are you going to do? You can lounge around, or you can.
That's the thing.
You can
You're
work hard.
lounging around. If they're gonna lounge around, they're gonna get fat. They're gonna be. What's that cartoon where they're like sitting? They're all like fat and they're sitting in these wheelchairs and they just like go. I think it's Wall-E or something. They're like
I
a
didn't
bunch of
see that.
humans are like
I didn't
sitting
see
down.
that.
Yeah, Wally.
That's gonna be us.
But necessity is the mother of invention. If somebody needs something or wants something, they'll invent it. They'll push to have it. They don't need a sort of money incentive to do that.
But how are you going to acquire
the money
funds
incentive
and the money to even create something like this?
That becomes sort of like more of like a democratic thing where people pool resources. So like that's a good idea. Let's do that.
I'll just give you all this steel for free to build your new thing. I don't think that's gonna drive.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be interesting.
And the robots isn't the thing. The main thing is moving past scarcity. Because the only reason that we have a market system in general is because things are scarce. Things run out.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to put a price on them so that not everybody can just waste it, so it doesn't run out. So it isn't just robots that need to be changed for capitalism to switch over, for switch out of capitalism. We have to move past scarcity. We need to be able to use literally no or less amounts of stuff to get the things we want. And that I think will come up when we can like mine asteroids. You know, when we can mine asteroids and suddenly materials are fairly cheaper, and the infrastructure gets built up to the point where it becomes near sort of like becomes dirt cheap to have a lot of this stuff, and people can be more self-sufficient. So the thing I'm talking about isn't going to happen for like another 100 years. You know, technology isn't there yet to make it happen. But it is the swing of things. It is where things are going. Mm-hmm. And the question is, the billionaires who know this is going to happen are the ones who are trying to ride this gravy train as far as they can, so that when it all falls apart, the depopulation schemes can kick in, and all the chaos will cause everyone to just kill each other. And then the few million that are left, they'll rebuild the future, in the future with robots and stuff like that. That's the plan anyway.
That's the plan.
You've
heard it first from the man behind the curtain.
Yeah, no. Watch this podcast. Listen to it. This is an archive of what is going down.
What's to come?
What is to come. And if you're listening to this in the future, in your post-apocalyptic nuclear bunker, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We tried to give everyone a warning.
We tried to warn people and they just didn't listen. And now you're fighting the spider bots that invade your mind. That's our fault.
The spider bots. Well, they wouldn't even need spider bots because Elon's got that Neuralace, so they'll just hack into the Neuralace.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What's his name? Elon Tusk.
Elon Musty.
Musk.
That's his porn name.
Yeah, that's his porn name. What's his real name?
Elon Muskie. Musket. That could be his porn name. That could be his gunnery name.
Oh man. But yeah, I feel like that's the thing. We can get her done, I think.
Cool.
I am behind the curtain at the Deep Office.
No name, no trace.
And I'm Free the Opposition. At
Yeah.
Free Opposition on Twitter.
All right.
Come be my 47th follower.
All right. Bye, guys.